Radio Network.
The airing of this program by this station is not an endorsement or recommendation by the station of the products or services discussed in the program. The station does not guarantee the results of any investments made by a listener to this program.
This is The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary is a San Diego financial solutions attorney, protecting people like you. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future. Now, here's Gary.
Hello, welcome to The Word on Wealth. Have you read in the news? You probably hear any news channel. Of course, they recycle it about every 15 minutes, but the big thing that hit the news having to do with Medicare was that the Scripps Clinic and Scripps Coastal are no longer accepting Medicare HMO plans. And that's really got the world in a tizzy. And last time we had Jim Robeson, our Medicare Answer Guy, he was on explaining that was kind of, we're calling it part one of this really dramatic shift that's having the decision. Of course, there's some, Union Tribune articles just recently that are saying the same thing, like, whoa, the executives of the Scripps Medicare are hoping that they don't really get hammered on this. Well, to talk about that, find out everything you need to know about Medicare, we've got Jim Robeson, the Medicare Answer Guy, on the show today. Jim, welcome to The Word on Wealth.
Thank you, Gary. Good to be back on this sunny San Diego day.
Always sunny San Diego days. Appreciate it. Hey,
Yeah.
It's even reflected in Jim's new logo. Jim on his surfboard, California. Why not?
There you go.
Absolutely.
Got to keep surfing, man.
Absolutely.
Got to keep my health.
Absolutely. I mean, that's so important. It's like as soon as you go, oh, I'm just going to be really lazy, then you just kind of go on a downhill slide. And why would you do that in San Diego? There's enough to do. If you guys have any questions about Medicare, the person to go to, if you called my office, if you call the radio station and you want to know, who do I go to about Medicare questions? I do one thing. I just remember the MedicareAnswerGuy.com. So either that, I just call him 858-935-9120. Jim's a friend of mine. He's been on the show with us for a couple of years, and he's always capable of answering my clients' questions when I send them to him. So, Jim, I want to turn you loose on this kind of our Scripps Clinic Coastal Part 2 and kind of help us figure out what's going on, and especially these people that are getting their time to renew notices and how scary that it's Scripps Medicare is like not taking care of you anymore. So what's up with that?
Yeah. So just to kind of review, when you turn 65 and it's time to go on Medicare, you go on the government plan called Original Medicare and you get your red, white, and blue card. Then you have two options to supplement the government plan. You have a Medicare supplement plan and a Medicare Advantage plan. The Medicare supplement plan is the permanent plan. It's never going to change. The Medicare Advantage plan is a temporary plan. And here's what I mean by that. Medicare Advantage plans, doesn't matter what insurance company or medical group, those plans are subsidized by the government, meaning every year, based on the insurance company's star ratings, they get a certain amount of money. And from that money, they pay your hospital bill and your doctor bill and prescription drugs. Then they have some money left over to pay some extras. But what's happening in the Medicare world today is more and more medical groups are seeing that they don't make money on these Medicare Advantage plans, and they're pulling out of the Medicare Advantage world. And this is what's happening in San Diego County with Scripps Clinics and Scripps Coastal. And like you said in your introduction, there's been a lot of negotiation going on, back and forth and back and forth. Well, it's final. Scripps Clinic and Scripps Coastal, effective January 1st, 2024, will no longer be in the Medicare Advantage world. So if our listeners are on Medicare and they have a Medicare Advantage plan, then they're going to lose their Scripps Clinic or Scripps Coastal doctors, effective January 1st. So that decision is final.
Okay.
What is disturbing is nobody knows about that. Of the 30,000 people that it's going to affect, very few, if any, have received any letter from the medical group or the insurance company. And they won't until the last week of September, which is this week, or the first part of October. And what we've tried to do weeks ago is to get out to our clients to let them know this is coming down the road. And like you said, it's final. And so we are doing as best as we can to get the word out, whether it's radio, newsletters, social media, because it's really what I call the perfect storm. My peers who've been doing this longer than I have said they have never seen such a crisis during open enrollment in the last 10 to 15 years.
Wow. It's incredible. It's kind of after, I guess, do you think that people just can't believe it? I mean, because it's in the newspaper, you know, it's a headline and you read it and it's almost like we've been trained over the last 2 or 3 years. None of that's really true. The government's going to save me, so I'm not going to worry about it. Do you think we've kind of been lulled into that kind of false security that somebody's going to reach in and save it? Or are people going to finally get word and start to panic and say, oh my gosh, I've got to do something on my own now?
Now, these plans are subsidized. And so, as we all know, Congress has kicked Social Security and Medicare down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And what I understand from reliable resources, they're going to start backing off and reducing the funds that subsidize these plans in the coming years. And to Scripps Clinic and Coastal's, to their point, they see the writing on the wall, and they got to stop the bleeding. And so it's happening across the United States. Unfortunately, brokers don't tell their clients. They only show them a Medicare Advantage plan. They don't show them a supplement plan that's permanent. And so those are some of the options that we're trying to get the word out, because it is a crisis.
1 minute.
A bunch of people on these plans, everything was fine, and they've been with Scripps Clinic and Coastal for years. And now in their 60s, 70s, and maybe 80s, they got to go find a new doctor.
That's insane.
That's a crisis.
That is a crisis. I have a question for you when we get back because we talk about the Medicare Advantage plans and we talk about the Medicare supplement plans. And I just have a question on that. If somebody switched from an Advantage to a supplement plan, can they get the same doctor? Is it even an option? And I want to get that as kind of one of the potential options, but I know there's a lot of other problems I got to be talking about. I want you guys, we are listening together here. Actually, we are on the Word on Wealth. This is Jim Robeson, the Medicare Answer Guy, and me, Gary Quackenbush. And coming up next, we're going to keep talking about what's happening with the Medicare HMO plans on the Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We are here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
You're saving and investing for the future, and that's good. Have you ever stopped to think, where does my money actually go? This is faith-based investing with Anthony Wright.
Most Christians just don't understand that the money they save for retirement usually helps fund the abortion industry and other liberal anti-family causes. But did you know that with just a few minutes of your time, we can screen and clean your investments at no cost to you? It's absolutely complimentary. Just go to the website right now, download a free copy of my book, Faith-Based Investing. It's free as well. You deserve to know the truth as the investor. Then the choice is yours. You can keep doing what you're doing, or you can line up your investments and life savings with your beliefs. We are fiduciary investment advisors. You can feel good about investing with confidence. So learn more now. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com or call me at 931-RETIRED. Your free book is waiting for you. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com and be sure that you listen to Faith-Based Investing this weekend right here on Family Talk.
Gary, How do you and your team help our listeners avoid probate?
Well, first of all, probate is a process that involves attorneys, judges, and sometimes contesting parties. And so we try to avoid probate at pretty much all costs. The way we do that is setting up living trusts, setting up properly documented wills, putting the property like houses, cars, bank accounts in that trust so that it avoids probate. Probate is only necessary if the estate plan isn't set up quite right. So we help them get it set up right. And mainly that's done through a properly created living trust.
Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs, call or click to request your free initial consultation. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
Who will you trust with the biggest financial decision of your lifetime? If you're planning to buy or sell a home in San Diego County, do what I do and work with the true San Diego real estate experts. Ken Pecos and the Pecos Group helped me and my family. They can help you. This is Gary Quackenbush of The Word on Wealth. You hear Ken every week here on The Word on Wealth. He's our expert. He's got integrity, exceptional service, deep knowledge of the San Diego, Coronado, and South Bay regions. These are just some of the reasons that Ken Pecos has completed hundreds of transactions. He manages a powerful team of professionals at the Pecos Group. From single-family attached homes to luxury high-value waterfront properties to apartment buildings, Ken Pecos is ready to help you avoid problems and costly mistakes. Learn more online at kenpecos.com. That's Ken Pecos, Pecus.com. Or call 619-977-8419.
DRE number 010566969, brokered by eXp Realty.
Join
Not alone. Ask for the legal help you need. Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
You're listening to The Word on Wealth. We're so happy to have you along. It is me and Jim Robeson. He is the Medicare Answer Guy, the only guy you need to know that can answer your Medicare questions. We are talking about a very, very serious situation in San Diego that affects almost 20,000 people in San Diego County, where Scripps Clinic and Scripps Coastal are no longer accepting Medicare Advantage plans. And Jim Robeson, the Medicare Answer Guy, has options available. So we're going through those options now, and we're going to come up with, in the next little while, keep listening, we're going to come up with some solutions or options that are available to you. So Jim, let's talk about that. I mean, if somebody gets their notice in the next, within the next week or so, most people are going to be getting their notices saying, oh, sorry, we can't insure you, or we can't take your plan, and they're going to be switching things around. So help us understand what options are available for people and what's the best way to go.
All right. So some insurance carriers are already sending out new ID cards to their members. I've had several people call and say, I got a new ID card and they changed my medical group from Scripps to this other medical group. What's going on?
Wow.
So that's a little unfortunate. But so our listeners, if you're part of the 20,000, you get a letter. If you do nothing, they will automatically assign you, like one of my clients, a different doctor with a different medical group. And hopefully they will state that in the letter. So if you do nothing and they'll just reassign you. Now, you can always call in and say, I don't like this doctor and I want to go to a different doctor group. But here's the issue. Up to 40% of people that are on Medicare Advantage plans in San Diego County do not have a broker. And if they want to change, they're going to have to call the insurance company's customer service. Well, you can imagine, and this has happened in other states, thousands of people trying to get into customer service. You're going to be on the phone for 30 minutes, 45, an hour, hour and a half, and you may not get to talk to somebody right away. So that's the number one issue, or excuse me, option. Don't do anything and they'll automatically reassign you. Or if you don't want to stay with your insurance company and there's another medical group that you want to pick from, then during annual enrollment period, open enrollment, you can use a broker like myself and switch from your current insurance carrier to a different insurance plan, a Medicare Advantage plan with the same benefits with a different medical group. And then finally, the question you asked, let's say somebody doesn't want this temporary medical advantage plan, they want something permanent. They don't want to trust their health insurance in their later years to something that can change every year, whether it's copays going up, premiums going up, drug costs going up. That'll be another conversation we'll have in a couple of weeks because that's happening as well. Then your third option is to enroll in a Medicare supplement plan that's permanent. And that plan comes with a premium. You'll also have to enroll in a prescription drug plan. But those, at least the Medicare supplement plan, you will continue to see your Scripps Clinic doctor. You're not going to lose your doctor if you decide to enroll in a Medicare supplement plan. You can continue to see your Scripps doctor. Nothing changes. Why does it work with Med Supp plans, not Medicare Advantage? Medicare supplement plans, the doctors get paid more. It's pure and simple. So those are the three options. Do nothing and get automatically changed to a different doctor, switch to a different insurance company and choose a larger medical group, or enroll in a Medicare supplement plan with a prescription drug plan, and you'll be able to continue to see your Scripps Clinic and Coastal doctors.
You know, it seems like it's so unfortunate that this happens when you need healthcare more than ever. You know, that's obviously why you have Medicare at 65, because typically retired or on retirement or something, and you need more healthcare and you have less flexibility with income, and then you have things like this happen. It's this kind of, I just see it as handwriting on the wall, all this trying to, make it so that, is the government really going to help us out with our medical, or are they really going to do a good job at it? And then this is kind of, to me, the first sign, like, you know what, sure we are, but we're going to just give you the doctors that we feel like we're just going to reassign you. And that's a really frustrating thing. I mean, even a guy my age, I don't want a new doctor every time, because then there's no past history. Do I really trust what this doctor's saying? Because bottom line, doctors are not all the same, and some of them you don't have a good relationship with. And I don't want to be reassigned and have to go through that mess. I can't imagine being on the phone with the customer service with another 5,000 people trying to get through the line. So what you're saying, Jim, on these options is, if somebody has a broker, that they should be on the phone with them right now. And if they don't have their favorite broker or somebody that they've really liked in the past, that would be the call to make to you. And you would be able to help them, like walk them through the options. And if they decide Medicare supplement plan, you can tell them what all the options are, the costs, what they're going to get, the benefits. And if they did something like that, the Medicare supplement, then they would not be reassigned, and if they stayed with Scripps, that is, they wouldn't be reassigned. They could stay with that doctor, but because, which would seem like, I mean, that's just seems like a good option, not for everybody, but they've got to walk through it professionally, and that's something that you do, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Here's the point I'm trying to make. Scripps Clinic and Coastal, they've already chosen what they think is best for them, and rightfully so. And now it's up to 20 to 30,000 people to decide what's going to be best for them. And you don't want to get caught on the phone with customer service, waiting for half an hour, 45 minutes or more, trying to find another medical or another doctor that is accepting new patients. That's the other issue. More and more doctors, they can't handle any more patients. And so Scripps Clinic was a large medical group. A lot of these newer, where these doctors where you're going to get assigned, they're with smaller medical groups, people that you may not know. I'm not saying that they're not good, they are, but you may have to do some research. And some insurance companies will be absolutely on your side, and they'll make it happen. And I can tell you that some insurance companies won't. And that's, again, we're here to help. We want to help it decide what's best for you. So it's going to be a busy 3 months till the end of the year.
Oh, man. And of course, Jim's geared up for this. There's 2 ways to get a hold of him. So here's my recommendation, you guys. There's a phone number and there's a website. So the phone number is 858-935-9120. 858-935-9120. I'm not super good at numbers. I don't need to remember them if I have his website. His website you can go to also is the Medicare Answer Guy.com. The Medicare Answer Guy.com. And then it's really easy. You go on his website and you click on contact. There's a little tab. It's like, or there's a little square thingy, a button that says contact, and you book an appointment directly with him, and it shows his calendar and you can talk to him. But you really got to find out options. Do it now before there's this mad rush to figure that out. And Jim can walk you through the options. Do you, what do you anticipate then, as far as, do you think other clinics are going to do it besides Scripps? Are there going to be some of these other bigger insurance plans? Are they going to do the same thing? Do you think they're just going to follow along and say, oh, no, Medicare Advantage, are going to drop and reassign?
I don't have a crystal ball, but I know what the government's going to do. They're going to cut back on the subsidy. They're already talking about it. Whether it's 2024 or 25 or 26, we all know this. If they don't do anything, Social Security and Medicare goes broke. That's just the straight up truth. So you have to be on your toes. Mm-hmm. You really do have to have a broker, whether it's me or somebody that who can help you navigate all of this. Because the insurance companies, they're going to be busy. So really the best way to get in touch with me is go to the website, the Medicare Answer Guy, click on contact. That way you don't have to go through our receptionist. And my calendar's right there. Schedule a 30-minute call and we'll help you decide which option is best for you.
Okay. And understand, you guys, that Jim does this for a living. This is his specialty. And the way it works is you get your options, and then Jim can help you exercise those options too, like take advantage of them once you've kind of thought through it, and he can be your broker. I have a lot of happy clients with Jim. It does, Jim, I totally, no matter what, the government is changing things and they're trying to figure out how they're going to cut back. And one of the things that are on the chopping block and have been for a while is Social Security and Medicare. And if they start cutting back,
2 minutes,
then you're going to have other plans that are going to do the same thing and go, well, Scripps did that and they're big, so we're going to do the same thing, and just changing the Medicare industry again. So got to be on your toes. That's what Jim's here for. 858-935-9120, the Medicare Answer Guy.com. All right, Jim, you,
And in 2 weeks, Gary, we'll talk about the whole prescription drug thing, because that's going to have an impact on everyone. So stay in a couple of weeks. I'll be back and kind of highlight what's going on and how do you circumvent that if possible.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm the age where these things really mean a lot to me. So it's not like I'm going, whatever, I'm ignoring you. These are important. So next time Jim is up, he's going to be on in a couple of weeks. Just be listening. He's on Mondays with us. To re-listen to this information today, just go to go to my website, gqlaw.com. You can also go to any podcast platform, and you're going to find the Word on Wealth. You're going to find Jim Robeson, the Medicare Answer Guy, and you'll be able to hear these options again. We'll be back with Jim next Monday. Make sure you guys listen up every Monday so you can hear the Medicare Answer Guy and get his good information. Jim, thanks for being on the air with us today. And thanks for kind of saving people from the government stupidity on this thing. But you guys call Jim.
And thank you for all that you do.
Absolutely. Do it now, guys. Call Jim, 858-935-9120. Before the end of the day, call Jim, 858-935-9120. Seriously, you got to get on this because people are going to get their notices in the next couple of weeks and it's going to get slammed.
10 seconds.
All right, everybody. Talk to you right after the break, right here on the Word on Wealth. Thanks, Jim. Talk to you later.
You've got questions. We've got answers. This is the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary's here to give you peace of mind with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary to build, protect, and transfer your wealth. 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com. Of GQ Law. Call or click to request your free initial consultation or to talk with a member of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
You heard it, Medicare Answer Guy. All right. We are really on the Word on Wealth trying to make sure that we have everybody protected. And if you are on Medicare, going on Medicare, have somebody in your family that's on Medicare, these are things that are not coming out they're coming out in the newspaper, not going very hard and heavy in the news. But the Medicare issues, it's so patently unfair that these things get released so late in the game. It's having, Scripps Clinic and Scripps Coastal affect 20 to 30,000 people in San Diego County, and they don't even know about it yet. Once they get those notices, they're going to have, we're in October basically. So you're going to have a couple of months to figure out what's going to happen over the next 2 months. And you don't want to have your doctor change and all that, especially, I mean, my gosh, I can't imagine my dad really in the last, 15, 20 years of his life used doctors a lot. I mean, they were single-handedly keeping him alive a lot longer than his warranty should have let him survive. And he owes a lot of it to his doctors and his medical care team who've just done a tremendous job. And if there was some switch in the middle, that would have been devastating, because then where do you go with all the history? Like, somebody can think back and look in the records, go, oh, yeah, that was me, and I thought of that. And yeah, we got things electronically saved and all that, but it just makes a big difference. You don't want to switch doctors. And that may or may not be what you have to do, but you get on your options and figure it out. Call Jim or go to his website, themedicareanswerguy.com. Jim's number, 858-935-9120. Next time on the Word on Wealth with Jim Robeson, we're going to be talking about prescription drug plans. So it's going to be a big one, so we can at least understand what's going on and the changes that are going on with that. Sounds good. Sounds good. You're listening to the Word on Wealth, and if you want to be part of the show, it's 888-344-1170, 888-344-1170. In estate planning world, we are going to be discussing how to, if you will, hold the successor trustees' feet to the fire. Now, this maybe this affects you because you are a successor trustee of your parents' trust. They've passed away, and now you're doing the best you can to wrap things up and make the distributions, and you have the beneficiaries, and hopefully they're being patient. Likely they're not. If they are being patient, then you're one of the few, and that's really awesome. Enjoy that. But how do you compel, like if you're a beneficiary, how do you hold the trustees' feet to the fire? A lot of beneficiaries, when I talk to them, they feel totally powerless because they have this successor trustee who's telling them, just be quiet, sit back. It's my job. Dad didn't choose you. He chose me. Obviously, I'm the one that was responsible. And so you just need to sit back and be quiet. And you may not like that from your sibling if they're acting as the successor trustee. You may not like it if they're acting like a jerk. It may be that the power has gone to their head, or it may be that's just the way they function. Maybe, maybe not. It just really depends. But the bottom line is whether the successor trustee is being aggressive or passive or sloppy or careful, they still have the job they have to do no matter what. And whether that successor trustee is actually capable of doing their job, like really efficiently, or whether they're just marginally capable and they're kind of, struggling through to get it done, but just not making you super happy. What can you do to make sure that things are getting done right? And if you need to get help, like let's say you're a beneficiary and you find out that the successor trustee is doing something with the trust that you don't agree with. And there was some wording in the trust about how much money or that a certain person would be allowed to stay in the house, and they'd be allowed to stay in the house as long as they cared for the property, or some language like that. I've seen trusts where the language is just so like soft and wishy-washy that you're just not sure what that means. Okay, so let's have the mom dies, and there's language in the trust that says mom's spouse, we're just going to call husband, the husband has the right to live in the house for as long as he wants, but then when he remarries, he has to move out. Okay, and that's all it says, which is pretty typical. So what happens then when spouse, husband, remember the wife passed away, and there's a trust that says husband can live in the house for as long as he wants or until he remarries, and when he remarries, he has to move out. What if now he has someone move in with him? and they're as if they were married, they just didn't sign the contract, or they didn't, do the vows or something like that. Is that mean now that husband can live there for as long as he wants with someone else, with his new person, even though the trust says when you get married, or if you have when you remarry, then you have to move out. So it almost seems like they're cheating the system. You would have to go to court to try to determine whether or not that was the intention, because it likely is. And what the deceased spouse meant was, when you replace me with another person, then you need to give the house to the kids, because that's my plan. It's my house. So, and that's a lot of the situation when you have these A/B trusts. The house belongs to the wife. She brings it into the marriage, brings in the husband by marriage. They share their monies. They share the house. And then when she dies, she doesn't want the kids kicking him out immediately, even though it's her house and they ultimately are going to get it. She wants him, because she loves him, she wants him to have a place to stay. However, if the circumstances change and he now moves on because he has his new person, new spouse, or new non-spouse, just the new person that lives with him, the decision is, we got to go to court and figure out whether it's enough to say spouse, or whether it has to, maybe it's somebody that's like a putative spouse or a pretend spouse, or it's the girlfriend, his new girlfriend, his new fiance, his new person, and that can be treated as the same. The courts are going to require a decision on that, because it's not obvious. It's, if the trust says spouse and he's not married, but he has his new woman living with him, that's pretty much the intention of the wife that died. The intention was, when you replace me, then you need to let the house go to my children. So we would have to go to court and get an interpretation as to whether a judge would agree that what was intended was not really only that if he were married, but if he were living together with a woman as if he were married. Okay, so that's one of the tough ones. And that's called typically it's a petition. You're asking the judge to make some type of a ruling to interpret the terms of a trust. And we typically call those an 850 petition. What if instead there was a question of whether or not the trustee was handling the money appropriately? So it's been years. Mom and dad died. Successor trustee, let's say successor trustee brother, is managing the money, and we're really concerned about what brother's doing with the money. The trust says that when mom and dad die, the entire trust estate is to go to you three kids in equal shares. And it's been 2 years. And you've been asking your brother, like, hey, what's going on? And you don't know how to do it officially and formally. Well, what the probate code says, it's in the 17,000s. It's like 17,200 sections. It talks about compelling the trustee, basically getting the judge to tell them to do their job right. And that is, you're entitled to get an accounting. So if you make a demand to the beneficiary or to the successor trustee, and it's what we call a reasonable demand, you're entitled to receive an accounting within 60 days. So let's say you go and say, okay, October 1st, I'm going to send out a demand for accounting that says, hey, brother, thanks for all you're doing as the successor trustee. I really want to know what's going on. I want you to give me an accounting. It doesn't have to be angry, but it has to be specific. I want an accounting, and I'd like it within 60 days. So that's going to trigger the code section that says you're entitled to an accounting within 60 days. All right. So magically in 60 days, 59 and a half days from now, you're going to have an accounting delivered to you in your mail, right? What if it doesn't get there? What if it's not delivered in your mail or your email, and your brother just doesn't talk to you anymore? Now, what are you going to do? Write him another letter. Hey, I asked for it 60 days ago. It's been 65 days. I haven't seen it or heard anything. When do I get my accounting? And if it just goes on like that, like now you're being ignored, I'll tell you, probate judges do not like that. That really irks them, because that successor trustee is a fiduciary. They have the legal obligation to benefit the trust and the beneficiaries. They have the legal obligation to maintain the trust so that it has maximum value for the beneficiaries.
30 seconds.
Okay. So you got to watch out for that. You may be filing a 17-200 petition saying, Judge, I asked for an accounting and I didn't get one. That breaches his duty. I'm worried that that successor trustee is spending the money inappropriately. I'm worried that he has a new car and that might be from the trust. I'm worried that he's not guarding that money and I want an accounting and I want him removed. That's the idea. That's the 17-200 petition. We're going to keep talking about that on the Word on Wealth when we come back in a moment, right here on the Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We're here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
So Gary, we've talked a long time about estate administration. So what is that and why is it important?
Estate administration is the distribution part of estate planning. So when someone passes away and they leave money to beneficiaries, the property has to be administered. So it's like taking it from the decedent to the survivor. That's called the estate administration process. So usually you're going to have a successor trustee that's named in the trust. They'll have no idea what they're doing because they've never done it before. So then they call on GQ Law and we walk them step by step on how to be a successful and good successor trustee. We also do the required notifications. We notify the Department of Health Services and all the legal requirements so that they can have the estate administration done properly. We help successor trustees be successful.
Call or click to request your free consultation. gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST, gqlaw.com.
You can't go anywhere these days without hearing about the fastest growing sport in the U.S., pickleball. It's the newest craze among all.
Trust, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
And you're listening to the Word on Wealth. This is Gary Quackenbush. We're talking about successor trustees doing their job and how can you, as the beneficiary, hold their feet to the fire to make sure they're doing their job the right way. Okay, the main job under the California Probate Code is the successor trustee is to guard the value, retain the value in that trust for the benefit of the beneficiaries, not for his or her benefit, not for the benefit of the creditors, not for the benefit of anybody else, but for the benefit of the beneficiaries. So as a result, if they are doing things that you suspect are not for the benefit of the trust corpus and the beneficiaries, then there are some processes that you can go through to try to enforce that. And judges see this stuff all the time. There are whole hearings that go on and there's 10 or 15 petitions in an hour that get heard where the judge is trying to make decisions on on how to compel trustees to do their job right. We're specifically talking about the 17-200 petition, which basically that's a demand for an accounting. You've made the demand for accounting, nobody's responded, the trustee still blows you off, and you really feel like, what else can I do? You send another letter that says, hey, you're the trustee and the and I know I'm entitled to get an accounting. What is in the trust? I want to know what's in the trust, what money's been spent, what's left over, what are your plans? I need to know. And I'm giving you 60 days. I gave you 60 days already. I want it now within a week. So you're trying to give extra time, trying to, be cooperative as much as you can. I mean, it is typically a sibling, and you're trying to get it done as best you can, but sometimes it's just going to take some pressure. We're all busy. Successor trustees are busy. They are taking on this job just because that's what mom and dad put them up to. And they probably didn't, mom and dad, they don't ask if it's okay. Most people don't with their successor trustees. When you name somebody, you don't call them up and say, hey, will you be my trustees? Like, well, sure, when you die, when are you going to die? You plan on dying soon? No, I'm not going to probably die for, who knows, 30 years from now. Okay, yeah, whatever, call me back. Call me back when you're ready. So it's not, most successor trustees don't even know what to expect. They don't know what's going on. And so you're trying to get them to do their job. So you say, I need an accounting. And if you don't give me an accounting, then the next thing you say, hey, I asked you 60 days ago, I really need to get an accounting. What's going on? Please talk to me. And if nothing comes up, then you file a petition in the California probate court that says, Judge, I need an accounting. I've asked for it. I didn't get it. The only reason I'm being so demanding is that I know I'm entitled to the accounting. I want to know what's going on. I want to make sure the assets are being safeguarded, because if they're not, and you wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, and so it's a year or two later, like, hey, brother, whatever happened to dad's trust? What trust? Now, I've had that. I've had clients come in and say, wow, I'm not sure that I don't know what's happening with my inheritance. I'm supposed to get that rental property. And my dad died 3 years ago. And I'll ask, are you collecting rent? I said, no, it's not. That's my brother. My brother is doing everything. He's like the property manager. I said, do you get regular monthly checks from the rental? No, I don't get anything. Should I? Your dad died how long ago? 3 years ago. Yeah, you should be getting rent checks, at least periodically, if not every single month. So then we got to figure out, what is that successor trustee up to? Are they sharing the trust assets with the beneficiaries? Are they just accumulating them? What's their intention? That's why we get an accounting. And if they don't provide it, then that's strike one. Then we're going to go into the judge and say, hey, judge, we didn't get a copy of the petition. We didn't get an accounting that we asked for. We've asked for it 3 times. And so we want this trustee removed from office. And then you can agree to step up if you want. You can agree to be the next appointed successor trustee, or you can look in the trust document. And if it says, first of all, it's going to be your brother, and then it'll be your sister if he can't do it. So if he steps out of the way, then your sister would naturally drop in place. But you're trying to make sure that you're trying to get it so that there's a third party that has some power, a judge, that they know what's going on, and you can take care of everything. Okay. So just realize it's somebody's job, and they've got to do their job. You're not being mean and nasty. You're not being the bossy sister or the aggressive brother, or, the bossy brother or mean brother. That's not the thing. You're being the kid that is trying to carry out the wishes of the parents, because your parents' wishes, regardless of what they told any of you in secret at a party, it doesn't really matter when we have a written document that says, this is what I want to have done. Okay. This is what I want to have done. This is my trust. These are my wills. That's what you go by. And if it's unclear, we don't know what we don't know what they meant. We don't know what they meant. Or maybe here's another one. Maybe they amended the petition. The trust. So somebody did a trust, and then they filed an amendment. They prepared an amendment. That's in the book. They got a second amendment. That's in the book. They got a third amendment. That's in the book. They got a fourth amendment. That's in the book. And we look at all those, and there's some conflicting paragraphs and whatever. What we try to do is sort through the whole thing. And sometimes we need to get the court to interpret what is meant by a particular paragraph, because it just doesn't make sense. They're using abbreviated language, or it doesn't fall under current California law. But we try to get it so that the trustee is set up to take care of business in the right way. Okay, so the 17-200 petition to get the trustee to do their job, 850 petition. we had a client many years ago. It was quite fun. I had a paralegal at the time that loved research. So the case, so the case was set up to where we had to do an 850 petition. And that's asking the judge for an interpretation. Because what happened is, as we're looking through the original trust, we notice that there's annotations in the margins. And so this guy would go in his trust and he would make a change, and he would write in the margin, like whatever is the 1997 Volvo to John, or he would, in the trust itself, where it would say $20,000, he would scratch it out and write in $30,000 and then put his initials by it. And so we were going to the judge and saying, Judge, here's these sections in here where he's crossed them out and initialed, or he's changed the dollar amount and initialed, or even changed the person that the property is going to, or
2 minutes.
initialed. You start to look at those things and it's like, Judge, we don't even know what to think. Should we go by the initials on the page? And then what happened is, in that same document, there's another page inserted that was typed out clearly by somebody. We were assuming it was the creator of the trust, typed out and signed by him and stuck in there. And the other page that it replaced was just ripped out. So we have this page that is very obviously just inserted in place of another page. And so we had to have the judge tell us whether that should be used as like a page as if it were from the original. And that was a long process, because the judge wanted to know, what exactly was written. What did he have logs that show his changes? Did, the dollar amounts we're talking about, were they in his logs?
1 minute.
And we had to kind of go through all this extrapolation to figure out what the person actually did. That was a 850 petition. So sometimes you do these petitions where you say, Judge, we're trying to read this and it says, so-and-so can have the house. We don't know what that means. We know what it says in English, but we don't know how that's going to play out. And the judge will do a petition. You do a petition and ask the judge to make a ruling.
Now it's 2 minutes.
And then what happens is you get the judge to give an opinion, and then that becomes like the order of the court. And the order of the court, then that's your interpretation. And you can go, you can bank on that, because that's the new thing. We don't have to guess what it says. We've asked the judge and the judge gave a ruling. Now, somebody asked me on that ruling, is that something where we just file a petition and say, hey, Judge, what do you think? Because that's what we all want. I just want my day in court. I just want to go talk to the judge. Just let me sit down with her and I will talk to her and I'll tell her what happened. And then she's going to agree with me and say, you're right, thumbs up. And I've had clients that will tell me, you can do that, right, Gary? Just go in and talk to the judge and have the judge say that this is okay. And then I explained that's not the process. The judges are neutral parties. They don't care about the outcome one way or the other. They just do what the law says. And they're going to want a briefing to show exactly what the law is and how the law does or doesn't apply. That's what the judge is looking at. And the judge is making a ruling based on the law and the research and our arguments versus the arguments on the other side. So if we're trying to say this petition, should be valid with the written pages in it, then we have to prove why. Because I'll tell you what happened is the judge looked at it and went, no way, that page is different.
1 minute.
We don't even know who signed it. It looks like the signature of the trustor guy, but it's not notarized. We don't know if it was forged. And that, we can't take that as an amendment because it wasn't notarized. It wasn't witnessed. So he's just making notes. What about the annotations? If there's annotations, like somebody's crossed out a paragraph and said, delete this paragraph and initialed it, that's not enough to delete the paragraph. Trusts have to be amended and notarized, just like the original trust. All right. 850 petitions, 17,200 petitions. We're going to be talking about tomorrow. I want to talk about a little about the difference between a bench trial and a jury trial, mediation, arbitration. We're going to be talking about kind of trust litigation stuff in the next couple of days. So if you got questions on that, you can call. And I'd be happy to be your attorney. If you got questions on this, get an appointment with me. It's 855-500-TRUST, 855-500-TRUST. If we need to hold the successor trustees' feet to the fire, let's figure out how to do that together. 855-500-TRUST. Talk to you tomorrow, everybody, on the Word on Wealth.
Tell a friend about the Word on Wealth, featured since 1995. With financial solutions attorney Gary Quackenbush, an expert in estate planning, wills and trusts, and tax problem solving. Gary is past president of the California Society of Tax Consultants. Reach out to us. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future. The information you hear on the Word on Wealth is for general information purposes only. This program discusses general financial and legal topics. Seek legal advice from a competent lawyer for your individual legal needs. The opinions expressed here do not necessarily represent the views of Salem Media Group or its sponsors.
The airing of this program by this station is not an endorsement or recommendation by the station of the products or services discussed in the program.